Hello YouTube, I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney. On this channel, I answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answer they need from an employment attorney. We have a question here from YouTube user Alfalfa, who asks us, "Hi Vince, I have mediation in 1 month and I recently had prep with my attorney. I asked him what are the top 3 pieces of evidence to both support and weaken my sexual harassment and retaliation case, but he said it was too early to tell. He said we would need to go through discovery phase before he could know the best and most harmful evidence. He is willing to go through discovery and said I was in good hands, but should I be worried? Thank you in advance." I would not be particularly worried. Listen, I would have a working knowledge as an attorney on a case of what I like and don't like about the case. But I would also, listen, I think what your attorney's doing here is you're like, give me a list of the best 3 things and the worst 3 things about my case. And your attorney's responding, you don't assign me extra work. I think that's actually how I read the situation. And listen, I don't think that's crazy for the attorney to say. Do I think the attorney might do better to have that conversation with you, or at least say, like, have that conversation, be like, listen, I'm not going to give you a list, but I will tell you what I want to lead with at mediation and what I want to avoid at mediation, which is basically the same answer. And I assume your attorney has an answer for that question, right? What do you want to lead with at mediation? What do you want to avoid at mediation? If you already did mediation prep, your attorney probably has already prepped for the mediation as well. So I would hope so, at least. So I think that might be the better question for your attorney. What are you going to lead with? What should we avoid? And put it in the context of something that matters, right? Like, you just spamming your attorney, and I'm not saying you're doing this, Alfalfa. Like, I know we've interacted, right? I know that you're a good client. We've only talked on the internet, but like I fully believe you are a good client. But a lot of attorneys are going to hear, hold on, you're giving me a drafting project to make you feel better? No, there's no extras here. I'm not going to write you a memo on the best 3 and the worst 3 parts of your case. Like, so I do understand that from the attorney. I really think the best thing your attorney could have done, and I know I've already kind of said this, is, listen, I'm not going to write you a memo, but here's what I want to lead with at mediation. I'm going to hit this, and maybe this. Might hold this one back, and I really think we need to avoid this, and this. I think these facts introduce a lot of risk into our case. I don't love them for you. So let's see if we can downplay those. And in the meantime, I'm going to be thinking about ways to argue around those at mediation, right? That would have been the best response. What you got was a little bit less than that, which was, listen, I don't know until discovery. That's true. You don't have a definitive final idea of the best evidence in the case or the riskiest evidence in the case until you get to discovery. However, you do have a rapidly evolving notion at all times in a case as to what the strengths of the case are and what the weaknesses of the case are. And that is a living, breathing notion. Like, that notion changes minute to minute as new evidence comes in. It changes as you tell the story differently, right? Like, if you tell a particularly problematic part of the story in a way that makes me feel like it makes perfect sense, oh, my client, you're wonderful, right? You did the thing, you made it better. That made so much sense. It was so relatable, it was so personable. It tracks. Juries, judges will find the way you gave that voice compelling, right? And all you did was apply your perspective and your personality to communicate. But you changed the whole view of the case when you did it, right? And that's how rapidly an attorney's impression of a case can change. So it's true. right? It's true that you won't know till discovery. And even once you hit discovery, things continue to develop, right? Once you get the document discovery and the interrogatories, you're still going to have depositions. And those depositions, well, they're going to change things all over again because you're going to have witnesses getting questioned. And your deposition is going to change things all over again because you're going to dunk on opposing counsel sometimes, and opposing counsel is going to trip you up sometimes. That's normal, right? So all of that's true, but I don't know if you're in good hands, don't ask too many questions, is the best answer. It's not the worst answer. Not the worst answer. I've seen a lot worse, believe it or not. And I don't think your attorney's bad. I'm not saying your attorney's bad or anything like that. I'm just saying I would have liked to see your attorney spend 20 minutes chatting with you about that. That's my preference. It's a quibble. It's a small thing. And I'm also I'm over here, guy on the internet, not at all familiar with you, with your attorney, the case. I wasn't in the room, right? So when I quibble, I'm making a world of assumptions. I'm sitting here assuming that you asked questions and he said, "You're in good hands, leave me alone." Right? That's how I hear this attorney's response. And doesn't mean he's a bad attorney. Even if my assumption is correct, doesn't mean he's a bad attorney. That's far from bad in this field. Like, that's respectful, which I'm glad. I'm glad about. Like, that attorney heard, I guess, that you wanted some reassurance and offered some fairly weak, off the cuff, click, copy and paste assurance, right? Like, you're in good hands. But by the way, I'm playing with this while I talk to you. The little wizard from Mario. So, based on my assumptions, it could be a better response, but I don't think it's a reason to lose faith in your counsel. It is to sum things up. Alfalfa, I wish you great luck at your mediation. I hope that you clean up. I hope that you get paid for everything that was done to you, and you leave with a fat check and a healed soul, which never happens. No one's soul ever gets healed at a mediation, but they do get a fat check often. So I'll hope for both, but I'll be happy with just the check. If this video was helpful, like, subscribe, comment down below. It helps my channel to grow. Take care. Good luck.